Hi guys, it's Christina within the garden. We're gonna do a garden tour today. I have some work I have to do. I'm gonna take some supplies out there and just talk about some future projects. I have some tomato bushes to kind of hold up with this metal that we use that has kind of a soft foamy wrap that prevents the tomatoes from being damaged when you tie them up. And then we're going to pull everything from the garden, including the basil that has been completely overgrown. And we're going to add some trellises. And that might actually happen today, that might not. And then in another video after this, we're going to go over bulbs. Okay, so these bulbs came from Color Bloom. And these ones back here behind the trellises came from just regular Costco. And then this variety here, which is like a lot of different things, came from ordering on Amazon. So like, for example, hard neck garlic seed. These have garlic heads in them. I'll show you. That you can plant, which you're going to want to do here soon. So with that, these are some of the bulbs that we're going to do for future projects. This has a ton of bulbs. This is something like over 1,000. So I'll get the official count and we'll go through them. But we're going to do what we are going to call today as a garden tour. So this is my garden shed that Joe made me this year. So we added these shelves. There's a little area for potting. This comes closed. And we put I don't know if you can see it, you can see me, a plexiglass there. So here, let me see if I can get it from a different angle. So you can kind of see into when it's not so, well, we're not gonna be able to do it today. I don't know if you can see the grass in there, but basically you can see through it and it just makes it really pretty. So with that, so I started some of the pulling out of items that we're going to have to do. I won't get to all of it today, but this is kind of like we added these horizontal stackers. And then this whole area this last year, that is a little lime bush that is rehabbing over here. We're going to move it inside. But these rose bushes, this barberry, which is super lime green, and then it turns like a I don't know if you'd call it like an auburny color, and then this yellow color in the fall. It's super beautiful. That's a hydrangea. And then what we're gonna do, so I pulled out some of these tomato vines. These are collapsing. So we have a metal, what is it? It's a hog wire fence that goes all the way over. And the tomatoes are just getting so big that they're collapsing. So I don't know if you can see that. Also, we're gonna take all these potatoes out today. So I let these dry out and see how they're kind of falling. See how it's kind of looking dead? These are potatoes. So this was really vibrant until, I don't know, just in the last couple weeks. And then what we want to do is kind of let it dry out so we can grab the potatoes from there. So these are our tomato plants here, and they go up. See how we use these to kind of hold them and train them, and then they come up and over and back down. Well, they've gotten so big, like I said, I've started to pull some out, so that's definitely going to happen more today. We'll do a time-lapse video of kind of all of this. But these are the tomatoes. These ones are beefsteak, and then this version, this one's not yet ripened, but this one is a black crim, which I have a ripe one over here. I'll show you guys when we pick. So that one's a black crim. And then we have all these bell peppers that we're gonna be picking today. Then we have all these banana peppers that we're gonna pick today, and so on. And see the tomatoes, let me back up. The tomato branches, see how they should be going up and over, but instead what they're doing is they're coming down instead of going up and over. And actually that just might have made that blurry. And then the same thing's happening here with the Roma tomatoes. So we're gonna work on that. And we've got some okra in here. Let me see if I can find the little guy, the little okra guy. Here he is. See him? Little okra. And then this is garlic. This is basil that has just completely, so basically the basil was amazing. We made a bunch of pesto and we absolutely love having basil. And then we went to Florida for 2 weeks to visit family, and everything was bolted when we got back. Now I've left it because, as you can see, the pollinators love it. The bees are just in love with the basil. It's kind of cool. So I want to pull it, but I'm hesitant because they like it so much. So what I might do is I might pull half of it, or just try to make it to where I can walk through these rows. There's some sunflowers. These are tomatillo tomatoes, which, by the way, they grow like a weed. So if you ever get tomatillo tomatoes, they grow like a weed. And then these are pickling cucumbers. This one's probably better. That got too big, so we're gonna pull all of these. So these are way too big. They got big while we were gone. These are sunflowers we're gonna pull. So all of these sunflowers that were beautiful this summer are spent. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna harvest out of them. So underneath here are seeds, and these seeds, see if it'll focus, are gonna be for the birds. So I'm gonna take all of those off. And then we had carrots, and there's some Roma tomatoes on this side, and then the cucumbers. It's all kind of a mess. And then the pumpkins. So I got squash bugs early on in the season, and I had to replant these. So these two didn't get as much water, so they're non-existent, and we're halfway through October. But this one has several pumpkins on it. Let me show you. Ones. So like by Thanksgiving, these will be a normal size, and they get so much more water here that I can put them inside and have, like, I mean, we got pumpkins from the pumpkin patch, so we can just use these as, like, you know, fall decoration for Thanksgiving. So, and it has, let me show you this. So we're going to treat this. It's powdery mildew, and we're going to treat that, I want to say today, but we'll see what happens. So this is Joe made these. These are called hog panels, that's what it is. So hog panels, and he just bent them and put them down and use these T-posts. So ideally what we're gonna do is tame the jungle that is in here and go through and harvest anything that we can. So I'm gonna go ahead and start working on that, and I'll show you as we go. And we're gonna pull a bunch of peppers. Oh, let me show you this. So Joe ended up splicing and merging a what is it called? This pepper is I want to say a reaper. Hold on, I'll think about it. I know the word, I just escaped me. These are jalapenos. So he spliced a jalapeno, and I don't want to call it a California Reaper. It's something else. Carolina Reaper. Carolina Reaper. And so this actual bush grows 2 different kinds of peppers because he spliced it here. And so basically you cut a piece and then you put it together, and then you tape it off and you let it heal over like it has. And that allows you to grow those. Now this is a green version, but you can kind of see how the texture and the casing, it just feels different than a jalapeno. A jalapeno is definitely thicker, shorter. These ones are ripe. These got to, let me see if I can get it. This one ripened while we were gone. So we're gonna pull those. Interestingly enough, this is a banana pepper, and on the same bush, I bought these from the store, this other pepper grew, and I don't even know what it is. I'm gonna have to try it. But basically, see how they have multiple stems? Something got planted with the banana peppers, but it's just hard to tell what it is. I don't know if it's a serrano pepper or not, but these are all of our peppers, and you'd be able to see them better if all of this wasn't here. This is a bell pepper, and there's the potatoes again. So we're gonna do a couple different videos. Actually, sorry, a couple different clips for this video to give you a view of all of these items. Ooh, look at how big this bell pepper is. Now, look, this is my hand. Here, let's take this little leaf off so you can see it. And let's take this one off too. That's a pretty good sized bell pepper. So we're gonna get all of that. All right, let's get started. Okay, so as a wrap up, I'm going to tell you what I did end up getting done. So this is a pile of the basil, tomatoes, sunflowers, and all the excess we're not going to use. The sunflower was right there. We're going to leave this one because it's still okay, with the exception of those top couple, which I'll probably take off. Trimmed up and pushed through. So if you get the tomato plants to push in and out of these holes, you're doing a good job. Now, if you're gone for 2 weeks like me, you'll have to tie them up when you get back, because essentially, so what we're gonna do is, as the weeks go on, you're gonna push this through, and then when it gets long enough, you're gonna push it back through this way. So until they're long enough to do that, we have this little hanger that is going through here. And the reason that's there is because they got so long that they flopped over. So we hung up all of those so you can actually see the ground now. So there's garlic there, okra here, that's aroma tomato. This is the tomatillo. There's Roscoe. There's Roscoe. And then this is our haul. We'll go through and wash it and I'll go over it all. And then you can see the peppers. I hung up that huge tomato plant. So that is black crim. There's a yellow one and then there's a black one in there. And I'll show you the yellow one. Here's the pepper plant. I'm not gonna touch that yet. Pulled all the peppers out of here. We're not gonna have time to do the potatoes. So this ended up being a bigger project than I thought. So these are all potatoes. They look sickly because we're gonna harvest them. So you let them dry out because you don't want a bunch of wet soil when you're harvesting potatoes. So that did get done. And then coming back over here, here is a pile of these are okra. This is a butter bean, so a very large bean. And this is a green bean. And then these are the cucumbers. These are pickling cucumbers. They were left on way too long because we're, again, in Florida. And so so now the plant actually has some time to put on some cucumbers that are the right size. This is even too big. You want something like this or like this, like an in between these two. And then these are the sunflowers we're gonna pull all the seeds out of. The seeds are in here. I'm gonna provide those for forage for the birds. And then this is where the amazel basil, actually, sorry, that's the amazel basil. This was amethyst basil. This purple basil was here, and the plant was huge. I just left these so the bees could keep enjoying them, but they did not like that I took their basil. So let's see if this will focus. It won't because the bee keeps moving. But you can see there's lots and lots and lots of bees that love it. I'm gonna let that onion go a smidge longer. Took some peppers off here, took the beans off of here. And then that's the potatoes again. So we're gonna work on that next video because we didn't get to it today. and it'll look more fresh, because that does not look great. But the point is it's ready. That's why it's dying back. So again, thank you. We're gonna go into our little garden space. There's Roscoe. Go in here. And okay, so we're gonna say goodbye. Tying up tomato plants can be a pain, is the recap on this. It's something you just want to do. You want to feed them in and out of the hog panel as they're growing. And if you can't, you're just going to have to tie them up. And what happens when you tie them up is just that it's harder to find the tomatoes, so you kind of have to seek them out. And it becomes very challenging to feed them in and out when they get that tall. But that's okay. The tomato plants are well past their prime. It's hot in Tri-Cities in Eastern Washington, and we're not even supposed to have this kind of weather this time of year. Sorry, the tomato plants were kind of ripped through my hair as I was prepping them. But anyway, that all to be said, that we'll do the potatoes on a different day, and then we're going to start working on bulbs. Now, we can put bulbs in the ground all the way till Christmas. We don't get snow here. And what you want to do is you want to get them in the ground and allow them to get cold. They actually do better if they're allowed a cooling period during the winter, and in the spring they'll green up better and come out, and they'll be more successful. If you aren't able to, if you're planting bulbs in other regions where it doesn't get cold enough, you might have a harder time with your bulbs. But that's all I have today. So we just did a little bit of cleanup, and we'll do another video on harvesting potatoes, but we will show you inside all of the harvest that we had today, which was mostly tomatoes, okra. I think there was one onion, some pole beans, and then some butter beans. I'm trying to think of what else. Tomatillos and so on. So we'll show you that next, and then we'll wrap up. Thank you so much. Hope to see you next time. Have a good day.